In this video, I'll show you which edges are blurred in movement. I'll talk about motion blur, the loss of detail, and the need for stationary objects. And it's in my book, Ellen's Guide to Rhythm and Motion on Amazon. And please remember to subscribe. Motion blur is a visual shorthand for speed in art. Here the lines trail horizontally behind the runner because they're following his movement, and they affect surfaces perpendicular to the motion, like his shirt and his pants. While I use bold, distinct marks here to emphasize the speed, in a realistic motion blur, there's typically soft edges rather than these long, hard lines. Now, if a person ran by you, you probably wouldn't see his face, and that's why this runner's face is empty. Adding details would actually make the figure appear more static. Motion blur differs from dirt being kicked up from the feet. If this were motion blur, it should affect the whole body. And this cartoon character doesn't look like he's really running because he's upright, actually angled backwards, whereas if he were really running, he would be angled toward the direction of his movement. And his arms or paws are in the air rather than helping him move forward. Try running like that. I bet you can't do it. This is a photo of a truck moving in the opposite direction on the highway, and I flipped it around because we in Western cultures tend to see movement from left to right as going faster than from right to left, and always leave a little space in front for the truck to move into. Now, the horizontal lines are the sharpest because they're parallel to the truck's forward motion, so they trace over their own path during the exposure of the film. In contrast, the vertical sides are heavily blurred, and the tires are blurred the most because they have both linear motion moving with the truck as well as rotational motion. So they're actually moving twice as fast as the truck. For this moving train, the vertical yellow door and the windows are blurred horizontally because these edges are perpendicular to the train's path. In contrast, the long yellow stripe and the roof line remain relatively sharp because they're parallel to the direction of the travel. Edges closest to the camera appear much softer and more blurred than the parts in the distance because these move across more of the frame than do the areas in the back. And this is opposite to atmospheric perspective, where elements in the distance would be blurred more than those in front. Now, we also have a stationary environment. The platform tiles and the arch ceiling have sharp, crisp lines. Otherwise, the whole photo would just look out of focus. In this picture, the fingers on the right have lost their distinct edges and details, like the empty face of the runner. You can't see the fingernails or knuckles clearly, and they've been replaced by a swirl of skin tones because they're moving faster than the shutter speed. This hand is much clearer, so it indicates that it's more stationary. The strings remain relatively sharp because they vibrate in a very small space. And the body of the instrument, the vest, and the background are all sharp and detailed, providing the stationary anchor. In my dancing feet painting, the man's feet act as a stationary anchor. Because they are planted, you see the distinct white and black marks on the shoes and the fabric on the pants. The woman's legs and shoes, in contrast, represent the fastest moving parts. So I used a swirl of colors to show her orbiting around the man. The pink and purple streaks trail behind her heels as if she were pushing through the air, literally staining the atmosphere with colors. By softening the back edges here, while keeping the leading edge slightly more defined, I suggested the direction of her rotation. Even the shadows aren't static. They follow a circular path of the dance, reinforcing the swirl of values. This woman is rotating the noodles up and down in front of her. The bottom of the noodles are the most indistinct because they have the furthest to travel, so they're moving the fastest. Her face and body are relatively sharp in details, providing the anchor. Her hands are also relatively sharp because they're the pivot points. I just started a new YouTube channel to teach art to kids 8 years old and up, and I go through some of the basics of art, hopefully in a fun way. And it's under Ellen's Art for Kids, and I have a book with the same name, Ellen's Art for Kids, on Amazon.